I only look at
hang on a second.
following.
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well...
That's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What? No.
Okay, this is Elon Musk. If you don't know who this is, welcome back from your coma. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. Now, the man you're going to see sitting across from Elon Musk is James Clayton. Mr. Clayton is the BBC's North American tech reporter. On April 10th, James Clayton tweeted out this. I had an email exchange with Elon Musk about the BBC's gov-funded label Yes. Then one day before the interview, he tweets out, worrying times for San Francisco. This is right next to Twitter's HQ. On April 11th, Elon Musk tweeted out this, doing a Twitter Spaces interview in 10 minutes with James Clayton of @BBC. Then James Clayton quote tweeted Elon saying, this morning I asked Elon for an interview about his first 6 months in charge of Twitter, and he said yes. Join us in a few. Then James tweeted out a picture of Elon with the caption, okay, so usually the interviewee leaves the interview. Elon Musk now taking questions on Spaces. James then tweeted out some pictures of him and Elon. Now, the mainstream media wasn't too happy about Elon taking over Twitter. Here's MSNBC's Joy Reid to tell you what's going to happen if Elon takes over Twitter.
The radicalization in this country is largely taking place online and on social media. Now, one of the biggest social media platforms is under the control of Elon Musk, a man who loves Russian dictator Vladimir Putin and who likely will re-platform Donald Trump. Musk's Twitter takeover has already sparked a full-scale return of unchecked misogyny, racism, and anti-Semitism to the platform.
So with the media screaming there's going to be more hate speech on Twitter, advertisers ran for the hills. CNN reporting, as a result of the pullback, monthly revenue from Twitter top 1,000 advertisers plummeted by more than 60% from October through January 25th, from around 127 million to just over 48 million. According to the data. The data demonstrates the sharp decline in what was once a $4.5 billion advertising business for Twitter. So now you guys understand some of the past history and tension between both Elon Musk, since he's owned Twitter, and the mainstream media. Now, in this interview, Elon is going to challenge the media narrative that his platform, Twitter, is a place full of hate speech. Check out this part of the interview.
I would only just add that, we have spoken to people who have been sacked that used to be in content moderation, and we've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally.
Now, just so we're all clear about what he's saying, he's on Twitter and he's personally seen hate speech on Twitter in his personal For You thread. So he's saying, yes, he's seen hate speech and it's full of hate speech. Now, Elon is going to push back.
But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Okay, just so we're all on the same page, let's define hate speech. Hate speech, abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. Hate speech is also defined by the Cambridge Dictionary as public speech that expresses hate or encourages violence towards a person or group based on something such as race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. So let's see how this reporter defines the hate speech that he's seen on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content.
Now you see why it's so important to define what we're talking about at the beginning, so we're all on the same page, right? This guy's screaming, hey, there's hate speech on the platform, and I've seen it. And he's like, well, how are you defining hate speech? Something that's maybe slightly sexist? Well, that's not hate speech, right? That may be offensive to some people, but that's not hate speech. Well, something that might slightly, possibly be racist, well, that's not hate speech. So that's why Elon is trying to say, how are you defining hate speech? And if, under your definition, should those things be banned?
I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
So now this mainstream media reporter has taken the bait. He's saying, yes, he is now the person saying, yes, I've seen more hateful content in my feed. And Elon is going to push back and say, okay, are you now pushing just the narrative, or do you have some facts to support what you're saying?
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
You
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
and
said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
my
You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Elon's got him in a bind, right? He's saying here, yes, I've seen all this hateful content, but in my For You feed, he's like, okay, well, give me an example. Well, I have used it in 3 weeks. Well, show me one example of the hateful content that you're getting that has caused you to now go and tell people under the BBC moniker that there's all this hate speech on the platform. Show me one example. Do you think this guy's going to have one example?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the For You hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Bingo! This guy has been lying to the audience for years, right? Since Elon has taken over, he's been lying. Yes, I'm getting hateful content too. He was a witness himself, and now he's been caught out there. He's been caught nationally, right? Everybody's watching this interview. Elon's caught him. You've been lying. You haven't seen any hateful content. You're just making it up to sell newspapers. And now his panties are in a bunch because he doesn't know what to do. He's been caught out there. And this is what the media does. They lie to you, and then they say, I'm the one asking questions, right? They're the ones asking questions. So now that Elon is asking him the questions, well, hold on, you're saying this, you're the witness, show me the proof that this is happening to you, and you see it all unravels. Because it's easy to tell the lies, but it's hard to prove the truth. And the truth is, there is no hate speech that this guy's experienced on Twitter. And Elon is exposing him for the liar he is.
It's because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise.
Oh, no, that's not what you claimed. You claimed that you personally have seen hateful content in your own feed, and it was anecdotal. You saw a whole bunch of it, right? Let's rewind the videotape.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
Personally, my For You, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Yeah, so he wasn't talking about other people. He said he personally has seen this stuff. But now when challenged, well, it's not me, it's other people who are saying this stuff. And I don't know who they are.
And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not, I mean, right, and
literally
you can look at something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't.
Now, this is the fascinating part about this interview. This reporter has just been caught out there pushing a narrative. And the narrative is hate speech is rampant on Twitter. And now when asked to just provide the simplest proof that this narrative may just be accurate, we don't have to prove that it's true, just accurate. Just one simple example. He can't do it.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so now you see. Now you see. I don't have enough. We got to get the hell out of here. We don't got enough time for this crap. But Elon did something that I wish more people would do. He was actually interviewing this guy too. Because this guy's been out there pushing the narrative that Elon's bad for Twitter, that there's been more hate speech, right? This is what he's telling people, right? Hey, I've experienced more hate speech on Twitter. That's why I can't even use the feed anymore. Elon says, give me an example. Show me. Help me improve Twitter. And he can't show anything. It's all made up. It's all a lie. And now, what does he do? He says, well, let's move on. Let's move on. We have limited time. Now, there's a part at the end of this interview that I want you to hear because Elon makes it very clear. You came to interview me, but I also came to interview you.
Let's talk about something else. You want to talk about the BBC?
You too.
All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Let's talk about something else.
So now I want to say one thing before we get out of here. I thought Elon did a fantastic job of exposing the media for what it is today. This is not your father's media, where they only gave you the facts and let you come to the conclusion about how you felt about the facts. The media today is about pushing narratives. And the narrative that the BBC and this reporter wants to push is that Elon has created a hate-filled cauldron in Twitter. And facts be damned. And Elon is saying, well, hold on, you're a journalist. Show me the facts. And this guy has no facts. He just wants to continue to push the narrative. And now that Elon's blown up that narrative, it's time to move on. It's time to ignore. Because the facts, don't let the facts get ahead of a good narrative. And he needs to get out this interview continuing the narrative that the BBC wants to push. But again, that's the way I feel. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace.